Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. That's on you, 74.
So we'll start with praise to Manjushri, right?
Yes.
All right. We can do it. This is text from Manjushri, who is his heart, the scripture text and all things and things as to his understanding who teaches in 60 ways of the precious Son, which is caught in the presence of some Son, confused in the darkness of the ignorance, overwhelmed by their suffering. You, whose dragon thunder proclamation of the Dharma, arouses us from stupor of our religions and frees us to behind the chains of our karma. Powerful souls of grace infused our suffering wherever expressed. Away the darkness of all ignorance. I entreat you, O Manjushri, whose fifty bodies adorned with 112 marks of Buddha, who has completed the 10 stages achieved in the highest perfection of Bodhisattva. We will thank you from the beginning. O Manjushri, all loving one, the brilliance of your wisdom, the darkness enclosing my mind, enlighten my intelligence and wisdom so that I may gain insight into Buddha's words and the texts that explain them.
Sangye Chetan Tsoji Chanala Chanchu Padu Dani Yasuji Dani Chifiti Pesona Dola Petra Sangedo Pasho Sangye Chetan Tsoji Chanala Chanchu Padu Dani Sanam Jala Beje Sanjin Jogarasho Sanje Chedan Soji Janula Chancho Bartu Dami Kazu Gigin Sanam Jin Jala Beje Sanjin Jogarasho Kangi Tuzini Zone Tawa Tamje Pambiche Tambichun Dunze Kwadam Jela Chanze Lo Good morning, everyone. Kazan saji sumba sinjan namna tindi pensum randön de ya makina shendön de kal kiyese tineri.
In going back to the text, we're going to pick up on the point that we left off in the previous session, like yesterday. So we're looking at the first chapter in Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life. Today we're going to pick up from verse 24, looking at where we are in the text. So we started to look at the section covering the reasons that there are such benefits for developing bodhicitta. We covered establishing the benefits by quoting scripture. Then we started a section that establishes the benefits by means of logic and reasoning. There are 4 main points in that section. We've covered 2 of them, and today we're going to pick up from the 3rd point in that section. Verse 24 comes under the heading of how could such an intention to benefit sentient beings not bring about benefit for oneself as well.
Tevdinzada sajidi sajingima manzu kaze tele lapigi pensum shemewa se tele labi pensum shemewa de tachi phamata ani chi hada transson na ya dinji da ani pensum di yomares da meba di da gabding sulti ani tanda tsawa dangde di ro dinji ji ani shenla pha ani shepa ni chochini tu tindike the pashani rangdun de tindiji somebody pe ani manam sunjala mena ta shenji tende ta tindiki misiwaras what this ungoras ra.
So we've covered in previous verse 23, that came under the heading of there is no altruistic intention that surpasses aspiring bodhicitta. We said that thinking of those such as your parents, the gods such as Brahma and so forth, they haven't got the merit that one accrues when they develop bodhicitta, aspiring bodhicitta. So in aspiring bodhicitta, in developing aspiring bodhicitta, one is aiming at the welfare of others. But looking at it in comparison with the previous verse, number 23, that came under the heading of that there is no altruistic intention that surpasses aspiring bodhicitta. One's intention might be focused only on one's own welfare. So bodhicitta doesn't suffice with just one's own welfare. It is intent on the welfare of others. So then verse 24 reads, if those beings have not even dreamt before of such an attitude for their own welfare in the dreams, how can they generate it for the welfare of others?
Shanda rangi tundu yang minjong simjen tunsang kan simji rinjin kyabandi hana mebi magic chongs.
Sorry, so I'm just going to read through the commentary. So sentient beings have not previously generated such a mind for themselves and not even dreamt of it in their dreams. How could they generate it now while awake? They will not. Then praising it as a summary to this section reads, others do not generate this mind for the welfare of others, even for their own purpose. This distinguished precious mind, something special, unprecedented, was born.
심전 타다기 대버져봐도 눈물 뽕이 된도 산지 톰도기 샘칸 여봐 아니 샘지린지 개발 파반데 몸매 매도 총 뭐서식 총들라 젠다 기게 뭐서 손이 배버 차워스 잔주 샘바 속이 아니 딘디기 투게바 나신기 아니 다 신당 가는 줬다위나 다 배우고 그랬어.
It says in the commentary to verse 25, this precious superior mind of Bodhisattvas, which wishes to attain enlightenment in order to place all sentient beings in happiness and eliminate their suffering, has not been generated even for a moment by other sentient beings, even for their own sake. Hence, they should regard the generation of this praiseworthy, exalted mind that has not arisen before as praiseworthy and strive in it. So, we should make effort in generating the mind in a manner similar to Bodhisattvas.
소롱디다 델레야 베바 침부 토네 아니 갈서 땅은 남기만만 마키바 네바 콘도 페야 제도 딘지기 베준난 게 여기서 땅간주 임바이나야 땅간주 줄이야 마당한테 위길이야 잔주고 셈 매바이나야 아니 잔주고 셈셈 딘지기 깨단 그런 봐 야지 잔주 셈도 냠네 난단 그런 봐 델레야 지소수 아니 퇴숨로니 체기여 봐다 디 톨이야 뒤즈단진 베준 체기 총어디 원의 단위 땅 아니 뭐쯤에 총질이야 지치니 배버 침부터니 담 마기바 기바 네바 콘콘 배야지도 배버 채나 아니 뭐지 된다 된바지 차기 열어왔어.
The precious mind generation, mind of enlightenment, is really amazing. And this is such a special, distinguished mind to generate. So with great effort, we endeavor to generate the mind of enlightenment. Just as the verse says, may the precious body mind, not yet born and rise and grow, may that bond have never declined, but increase more and more. So looking at ourselves, and Geshe said that at least personally, Himi hasn't generated yet the mind of enlightenment, and yet, no, he hasn't done it in a way that Bodhisattvas have done it, but still through studying this topic, mind generation, and reflecting upon this topic, in making effort, endeavoring to, in one's study and reflection, you can come to appreciate the preciousness of bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, and see how amazing it is to make effort in developing it if it hasn't been developed yet, in preventing it from falling into decline and increasing it forevermore. And if you do that, then your life becomes meaningful.
아니 자와 가르치기는 될이야 아니 가서 던지 아니 균 맞춰봐 아니 중대야기 존주 조위 샘디 용거로 왔어 인자다 장주 샘 돌이야 도스 가서 던지 심죽슬라는 디고지 심죽당 아니 디기 폐 디게당 그런 바 간지 도스지 아니 년섬 진행기 먼저 미지존은 성지당면 배 마스 인용으로 왔더라 미 미템범 갖다 줄주든지 가련 디기니 먼저 용시지기 딘디지 뒤주된지니 제주청어디 아니 개발도 봐봐 인바디 메모고 버려 딘디지 삼도 봐나 아니 가발리그 쪼알리그 아니 균투니 내주치 투그로 왔어
So if we delight in whatever we do, and whatever we undertake, if we generate that sense of joy in it, our mind would become vast and spacious in undertaking that particular task. So what we need to do here with respect to our engagement with the mind of enlightenment is to rejoice in that virtue, to make our mind delight in that virtue. So we research the mind of enlightenment. We look at the benefits, the stages of the mind of enlightenment, and how few people have got the opportunity to do it, particularly when you compare the number of people living on this planet and how very few of them, actually only few of them, are looking into the benefits of the mind of enlightenment, the stages of generating the mind of enlightenment, and so forth. So it puts us in this really special, distinguished position. So when you come to appreciate our current circumstance in which we are looking into the mind of enlightenment, you can certainly develop that sense of joy in doing that. It's important to recognize our current situation and to develop joy in it.
사진이바 틴서리 사진이바디 리비드발라 현섬리 태바다 주섬리 태바스 주섬리 토비 태바스 숨 응어든 디 태바다 도바사오 담봉원이 조건기 가위규 자와 심전동 같이기와 린첸sem기 소놈가 telha chidari shengi lang insa tiri.
Then the next section comes under the heading of the validity of obtaining benefit from engaging bodhicitta. So keep in mind that we're establishing the benefits by means of logic and reasoning. So we have completed looking at a section that explains the validity of obtaining benefits from aspiring bodhicitta. And now we're proving the validity of the benefits from engaging bodhicitta. So there are 3 points in that section: the actual benefits of engaging bodhicitta, the validity of the benefits of engaging bodhicitta, and then we're going to dispel doubts with respect to it. Let's begin with verse 26 that explains the actual benefits of engaging bodhicitta. And as Shantideva says in verse 26, how can I fathom the merits of this jewel mind, the cause of joy of all migrating beings, and the panacea for sufferings of sentient beings?
That did it. That 조건이 가위규. 오늘 잔주 샘비 조건 가위규. 자기가 딱 가슴이 지는 건도 쉬대 드리. 되는 다 심진 동할 찌겨 봤을라니. 다 심진 슬라나다 장매바 몸매바 간지 아니 남기 가켜살이야. 아니 심진이 캬는 여인자 대탕지기 아니 동할 세월 집이 탑 아니 두스 따부디 아니 잔주고 샘들이스 디기 손놈디 이게 즉 체다마소나 즉 샤고나 자와니니 아니 체 송삼매바 딘지기 아니 손놈 납치 뭐 여대와 니바 납치 여대와 어디레스.
As this verse says, how can I fathom the merits of this jewel mind, the cause of joy of all migrating beings? So the mind of enlightenment is the cause for joy of all sentient beings that extend to the reaches of space. As it says here, it is the panacea or the elixir for the suffering of sentient beings, in that it can transform them. It can alleviate suffering of sentient beings that extend to the reaches of space. And as such, if you think of the merit of such mind, how can you quantify the amount of merit that this mind has? It cannot even be quantified. It is of such great merit, such great potential.
Yeah.
So Chris is asking, there is aspiring bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta when the vow is taken. What is it called when the mind of enlightenment is actually generated? Johnson Domba Lensane Kavkavla Monsignore Kavkavla Jusen de Yobekechares. Ne Chanchu Gisen Mune Kewaina, Chanchu Sen Dilla Min Karetagures.
Kusi sewares, kusi. Kusi. Chanju semdela.
So if you ask what is it called when the mind of enlightenment is actually generated, Geshe said that this mind of enlightenment is called Chris. Chris Queen.
Chanju sem segorara. Call me chanju semre. And till her means Giomarada. Till her go matters.
Well, when the mind of enlightenment is actually generated, it is the mind of enlightenment. You don't need to attach to it another name. It is the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta.
Redni tanda Toba Yonya the Dinga Toba Rosary. Kasnanganzun Minju Kabar Cheondi, that Jipi Singing shown, the Shivchashu, Juton, and it Kamda Zonjin, Cheondi, and it Jovanyamning Chavi Musamba said. Jinsog Yamning Chavi Musamba said. Jarundi, and it Chanjusamba Yamjabala Soba, and Dinji Julaya, and it the Kivakashi, and Yamjabi Julaya, Chanjusem, and it the Mindu said that. Kashi Yoris, the Dindi Kavachi on Digi, and Kashi Pensum said, Kashi Jusum said, Dindi Shujamam, the Chidan Yungudo Asra, that the ship Sabu, the Cabin Tiger Tommy, in the two Shion, the Yungores, in the Zavi, Zawarang Tom, Yasichim Shivali, Junju, Zawarang Tonma, and the Shishavatan, Tig man, Java Javarmuchigi. Jawadnima don't dig and in Jugdom top and chenny and Jugsem Jugdom Matab Kongi, Semge Delia, Munsum Shawaina, that is Saman Roshuchi, the Narangi, the Jihor, Ra, the Nimaina, Cherenang and Shibja Chigorti, in a do sound down dig Jugdom Topani, Semdi, Jobanyamni Chavis sing Gori, Zavinamolaya. Drawan dirt and draw a church the Shivatars. Pay Javana Shingi. Drawi Chavigi Karsota, Simba was. Jobanyamni Chavita one is Simba was, Tangoni, the most Simba Slam and Shivja Chiva. One is Simba is the Judam Shago cousin, Juxum Shago in Roach.
The Neti Kesi. Bagachila Pachinto Nyamne Machewaina, Yaman, and Muslim Machewaina, Janjusen Kona than the Undujuaina, the Juxem
Judam Yorwa. Judam Yorwa. Be Jimbi Yamning Muslandi, Jimbat Town with Tonsum Wund Kivalaya, Jana, Kolaya, Jimbi Yamning Chav Mus Menaya, and it Tonsem any Manju Seni onki, tonsem counter. Dio Marwas. Ra. But Dilavata. In a Dishija the Chigomo Tajurda. Mare, Mantrosan Yamare.
So then looking at the differences between the aspiring and engaging mind of enlightenment. If you want to be more precise about the distinction between the two and make some make some inquiry with respect to what they are, there is a definition that is often provided in scripture. So it says that if the man of enlightenment is explicitly qualified by the practice of the conduct, it is the engaging man of enlightenment. And if it is not explicitly qualified by the practice of the conduct, it is the aspiring man of enlightenment. So since such statement is made in scripture, and of course it says that one needs to have the engaging vow in one's mind stream in order to have the engaging mind of enlightenment, then there are quite a lot of doubts, and there's a lengthy discussion in scriptures pulling out different points and different doubts in inquiring into the aspiring and engaging man of enlightenment. Like, for example, one question looks into what happens when that bodhisattva in question, is in meditative equipoise. Some say that when that bodhisattva is in meditative equipoise, they have the mind of enlightenment. Others take the position that when they enter into meditative equipoise, they haven't got the mind of enlightenment. Some make a distinction between whether they have an aspiring mind of enlightenment at that point or engaging mind of enlightenment in that point. So this definition that says that if the mind of enlightenment is explicitly qualified by the practice of the conduct, it is an engaging mind of enlightenment. Then when it is not explicitly qualified by the practice of the conduct, it is the aspiring man of enlightenment, then it is still something that begs a lengthy discussion. So looking at it from a more simple way, His Holiness the Dalai Lama in his commentary says that once you have taken the engaging vow, the man of enlightenment in your mind stream would be an engaging man of enlightenment. So Geshe tends to agree with this position in that you have taken the engaging vow. So at this point onwards, no, we're not going to make that distinction where the man of enlightenment is explicitly qualified or not. You've taken the engaging vow. So then the man of enlightenment will then be qualified by the practice of the perfections such as generosity, like, for example, increasing the intention to give. Wouldn't it be arresting miserliness that prevents you from giving? Dila Chris Yan di kalagi resna chezan chanchugi sengune din dikewa ina dila kunzo chanchugi sen rebes lagi rebes tuntan chanchugi sen lagi rebes
kunzo sengi.
So Chris is asking, when it is generated, is it conventional as well as ultimate? When the mind of enlightenment is generated, it is a conventional mind of enlightenment, conventional mind generation. If you wonder what is the actual mind of enlightenment, well, the actual, if it's the actual mind of enlightenment, it is necessarily the conventional mind of enlightenment. Chezon Koran chanchugis kunzo chanchugis sendi tuntan chanchugis sem kandechi chagres.
Chagmares.
Chris.
Chagmares.
So the conventional mind of enlightenment does not become the ultimate mind of enlightenment.
When you songrichin, then the tendom chanju sense 가정한주 쉬어야 돼. tendom chanju sense 쭉 셔럽 또머니 또비 셔럽이야. 아니 tendom chanju sense 민딱 맞지. 어딘지 차기도 왔어.
So these two, the ultimate mind of enlightenment and the conventional mind of enlightenment, have to be united. Yesterday, we did mention the ultimate mind of enlightenment, and we said that the ultimate mind of enlightenment is presented from the viewpoint of wisdom. It is wisdom that realizes emptiness. So a particular wisdom that realizes emptiness is given the name an ultimate mind of enlightenment.
우리 담아 쉬고 이거 다샤스라. 어다 담아 drogin다스라. 지금 현재 다샤스. 저도 마서. 면비 배유 신도 채는 저번 양력이 자외 선바. 대외장 개발 파데스. 면섬디 멤버 셈기디 아니 저당기 배유 신도 침보래 장주 셈세 배유 신도 침보래 이나야 저번 양력이 자외 선바. 대외장 개발도 파그레스란 죽섬 송거라. 제가 나와요. 저번 양력이 자외 선바세야 마도. 무슨바 딘지 실전 태문도 왔다. 간지 저번 영역이 자기 심비 샘기디 아니 죽섬에 샤고요 버디 아니 잔디 이기 공부 난딘도 지도스라.
So we read through verse 26. Let's look at the commentary to verse 26. It says, again, we're explaining the validity of the engaging mind. Particularly, we're explaining the validity of the benefits of the engaging mind, right? This is what we're inquiring, the benefits of the engaging mind. So, bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, has great benefits. Even more specifically, when we look at the benefits of the engaging mind of enlightenment, it says, if the benefits of the wishing mind, the aspiring, are very great, then the benefits of the mind that is held or qualified by the practice of the perfections is even greater. Now, when it is said that then the benefits of the mind that is held or qualified, it doesn't say explicitly qualified. It just says qualified or held, which in Geshe's mind, it supports the position that you don't necessarily have to make the distinction that for a certain bodhicitta to be engaging bodhicitta, it needs to be explicitly qualified by the practice of the conduct.
저단이 개박 감각이 개박 참알로기 송디 참아 다치지면 증고 좋나? 요 카보 빼어라스 다 카보 빼어라스라.
그런 카르디 개박 참아 다신도 된데 참
다치지면 봐. 갈라 쉽지 이게 민 죽섬 그 된상원디 가시기 좁은형이 잘 응무스 봤을 때 가시기 섬 봤을 때 진짜 손수 몽부여로 하려고 한다. 니 최대 켄신바 켄켄바 레삼다 그게 도도신다고 한다. 어디자 다디 참말로 다치지면 킬랭 거 좋나? 아니 멘트받는 여러다. 가부를 했어 그러다.
Since there are different positions with respect to these qualifications, right? So we're now looking at the meaning of whether the mind of enlightenment is qualified by the practice of the conduct, or whether it is explicitly qualified by the practice of the conduct, and so forth. If we take all those different distinctions literally and try to hold all of them at the same time, Geshe reckons that we will have contradictions, will have a mismatch between different positions. So sometimes you look at such qualifications that are made in scriptures, but you keep in your mind that you cannot take all of them literally.
간두고 소리지. 네, 대단한 가와 중세계 매너야. 지기 돈이 아니 만다서 실제 치고 딱 마음이 거라서. 진짜 아니 좀 전에 아니 콜로 반다 숨송이 가시 장전다 가시 예전 세대. 그 상황보다 인디 돈이 거라서. 된다는 것만 비 밥상 것만 공부해서 쏘들이야. 아니 가와 지기 매너 중세계 매봐. 그러나 이내야 송기 지기 돈이 아니 도제수스 감도 메발된 송고인자 아니 엔 손좀만다 용거레스.
So the Buddha, the Bhagavan, gave different sets of teachings, and not all of them can be taken literally in exactly the words that indicate them. So you need to make certain distinction. And even though we assert that there's no contradiction in the teachings that the Buddha gave. Still, looking at the words that express those teachings, certain clarifications still need to be made. So the Buddha taught the three wheels of Dharma. And when we investigate the teachings taught in the three turnings of the wheel, we distinguish between teachings that are provisional and teachings that are definitive. Right? There are teachings of provisional meaning and teachings of definitive meaning. So after all, those teachings were given to different disciples whose mind stream needed to be tamed, and they were of different dispositions. So although you can say that when you look at the totality of the teachings of the Buddha, there is no contradiction in the totality of the teachings that the Buddha gave. Still, when you look at the words of those teachings, not all of them can be taken literally.
Yeah.
Then Matt is asking, in order for the virtuous activities to be considered as the practice of paramitas, does one need to have taken the Bodhisattva vow and developed the engaging mind of enlightenment? So, gewa jawachi chewa inarwa. The gewa di parching nyamnen di reala di soso gyula Johnson Domba Gogerbis, ani diganayan Juxem the yoga werbis.
Gevi Chavati Karsata Parchin Parut Chimbas Laundi, Parut Chimbadi Bena Numum Parut Chimbayore, and Juni Parut Chimba, Nisha Chodas, Ra. That dreaming part of the and Sanji to be tablaya. Sanji to be tapti, so di any ninji down, Chanchuk Semgi, Simasing Tony, any Sanji to be tablaya, Romanuti, Titsegores, the Tewachimbu in Yamni Mindi, so ninji the Chanchuk Semgi, Simasilaya, Segores. That any tower to be tap. 가서다 디 조드야디 베는 인종 생각도 왔어. 대당 인종당 인지원 전주스템 관계 맞으나 디 개위 잡았자마자 마도 아니 가서다 람냠닝기 아니 나노래 수야디 가버려도 왔어.
So then in terms of the perfection, the word for perfection in Tibetan is parutuchimba, which means to go to the other side. Going to the other side or having gone to the other side, that's the way that Tibetan language has glossed the term paramita. So then in terms of crossing to the other side, then you cross to the other side away from afflictions or from obscurations. Just a second. Nyamon paru to chimbasa di
Koyo paruchimba.
Crossing to the other side away from afflictions, or transcending, you can say transcending afflictions or transcending the two sets of obscurations, afflictive and cognitive obscurations. So then, if you wonder what then is the method for Buddhahood, well, whatever virtuous activity you undertake, if it is qualified by compassion and the mind of enlightenment, then it becomes a method for Buddhahood. Then, if you wonder what the method is for attaining the state of liberation, the main method for attaining the state of liberation is a virtuous activity that is qualified by the determination to live cyclic existence, right? So we make a distinction between methods for attaining the state of Buddhahood, the methods for attaining the state of liberation, in terms of whether they're qualified by bodhicitta, compassion and bodhicitta on one hand, or the determination to live cyclic existence on the other hand. If your virtuous activities are not qualified by any of these two, then they're just virtues, but it's difficult for them to be considered as part of the path if they're not qualified by either of these two. Met.
Yeah.
So then another question is, as the mind of enlightenment is conventional, is it possible for the uncontrived mind of enlightenment to be lost or abandoned? Kunzo chachugi semse di kese chuma maimba kewa ina ani bagachi la chuma maimba di nyam yon sigirbes then the le temps yon sigirbes chuma maimba kewa
re tanda di kongi chewa di len la ya ngaju kewa di karsoda kewa di nang chel ndo mandro di jamju singo das ani tawi gyal ndo mandro di ninjung sambe simba tewa chimbi nyamlen ndo mandro di ninji da chanju sim simas dinji tone jargo das tinzan nenga zu roti ani jamjo ninjung ninji da chanju sim nyamlen di ani sanji chu nimbo chichagi yabati 인디레셔스 라 겸도
Rara ine kuran chiwa
마티 공기
di chiwa shambadi. Anyway, before answering that question, Geshe said that looking at the previous one of Matt, in general, for whatever we practice, to become a Buddhist practice, it needs to be qualified by refuge. For whatever we practice to contribute to liberation, to act as a cause for liberation, it needs to be qualified by the determination to live cyclic existence. And if we wanted to contribute to enlightenment, to the state of Buddhahood, then it needs to be qualified by compassion, the mind of enlightenment, right? So this is how we normally explain it. We normally explain the motivations that qualify our practice as those motivations that determine what type of practice that we do. Refuge determines our practice to be a Buddhist practice. The determination to live cyclic existence determine a practice to be a practice that contributes to liberation, whereas if our motivation is compassion, the mind of enlightenment, then it determines our practice to that which contributes to the state of Buddhahood.
니버디 잔주고 셈야 냠바 시그레 손라다 냠바 요르스 가 아니 카시기 아니 잔주고 셈 당고스 용 퇴네야 아니 대게인 딘지 토네 간상 가실래야 냠바 용구 요르스.
Now, looking at the question with respect to conventional mind of enlightenment, if you generate an uncontrived mind of enlightenment, can it be lost in the sense that can it be degenerate? Is it possible for it to degenerate? Can one abandon it? It is possible for that to happen. It is possible that even though you have generated an uncontrived mind of enlightenment, that certain conditions will come up and then the mind of enlightenment will degenerate.
가서는 게임 조디 남중안주 다치 소소 단디 차라야다 야구 여바이네야 아니 적 냠바다야 아니 지닝 마레세데 다치 라마기비시닝 랍제켄데 저스 적 냠바던 지소바이나 그게 다치 아니 녜럽 토네 아니 소소 신줄로 랑갈란도야기 냥가 여바 나신기 아니 갑갑이야 대본 멤비기 기위신이 딘데 체치네 아니 대본 멤비기 남는 땜바이나 아니 지 타원 저거 톱도와 니문 저거 빵토에서 소바 딘지 이 람든 슈 쳔보 체원디게 아니 잔주 셈바다 지 소지 ombotubo gashi 아니 다가라 공체니다 아니 지 겨름부 쇼질이야 까오망부 쇼질이야 dos bet 아니 kali gyab debale en tyentundon jing namala so dachum combatant titasare samsung tindi thone kanji tebo membi givishin yeda chechine gashi 아니 잔죽 쌤 냠시거레스.
So it is possible for bodhicitta to still decline. When certain conditions come together, it is possible for that to happen. So, for example, we are told that we need to avoid negative friends, bad friends, particularly at a time in which good conditions assemble for you. It's important to not associate oneself with negative friends. Particularly, this is the type of advice that we get in relation to virtuous friends. So you have met a virtuous friend, a spiritual teacher, right? A virtuous friend. It is then said that you need to refrain from associating yourself with bad friends. Now, bad friends in that sense, the term bad friend is understood in a particular way. So bad friend or bad company in that situation where you already met a virtuous friend would be someone that would influence your decisions. So if you've already met a virtuous friend, you meet another one who tells you that, and this is a virtuous friend of the Hinayana. So they will dissuade you from following the Mahayana, and they will tell you, if you attend a state of liberation in which you will eliminate your own afflictions, you will attain that so much quicker. What's the point of spending so much time in all that hardship where you can quickly attain your state of liberation and eliminate your afflictions? So it is still possible that some bodhisattvas will be susceptible to such an influence. There will be ordinary bodhisattvas, there will be of lesser faculties. So should they meet a spiritual friend from the Hinayana that will advise them to follow the Hinayana path, it is possible that they will think that it's actually going to be much easier for me to attain the state of liberation. And thereby such conditions for the degeneration of bodhicitta could occur.
That's some resra and chanju sem rumbuchiti gilakina that nyamya yosari that the young samar samsung dindi sem shu tsawi in chago mars that this that some res nangan chetan nganzu and it chok down and kiwishin singing play a shoot and it rally yobadi seures ra susulaya chokuya jiobana and the langa sambujilaya droyagi and chi poro da masona and letu yoba and chi and gigin yabuji yobana and lamden sambuji ragi yoba chi and shonka bunga tsubi lawlanya and yabuche tu and twin so chego yoba those the sewer was ra nanga chi soso and jidan soso kamigan lan drotu yorda inaya landur nelaya juwala injiminji and talk sambujilaya Maden Tamage, Penangadangadawana, Metsi Consalia, and Lamagi Vishinilla, Dugong in Chagoras. Kewan Kewa, the Chimasichiman, the Karisana, Susu, two Mevanza. And Dugo, the Mother under Duna, Kersan Yova, Maduna, Kongyoba, the Chagoras.
So this is just a possibility. It is just a possibility for something like that to happen. So you might be thinking that I will generate bodhicitta and it will not decline, but it is still possible, just as a possibility for something that could come to pass. So that depends upon the friends that you keep and the spiritual friends that you rely upon. And therefore, there's an emphasis that is placed on relying upon a virtuous friend and also making sure that the company that you keep is wholesome. It's a good company, because this too supports your progression along the stairs of the path. So you meet a spiritual friend that teaches you the 5 great classics. They teach you the way to train along the stairs of the path, how to train in your practices. And we need to have good friends and good spiritual friends in order to continue to do that. At least Geshe said that for him, it is clear to him that not only in this life, it still needs to have virtuous friends in order for that to occur, but also in a succession of lifetime from one birth to the next, he still needs to rely upon virtuous friends, spiritual teachers, because alone on his own accord, he recognizes that that is not likely to happen. So there's a benefit in attuning your mind to those, to relying upon a virtuous friend, a company that you keep. There's benefit that you get from that. So there were a couple of other questions since we already started with some questions. So Chris had another one. So the question was with respect to the mind that possesses the two aspirations. So a main mind can have only one aspiration as a mental factor at any particular time. The accompanying aspiration seeks the mind of enlightenment. So Chris, as I said yesterday, does not seek the mind of enlightenment, it seeks enlightenment. So that's the beginning. The second aspiration is the accompanying aspiration. They cannot be two aspirations at the same time. So one is causal, compassion, before the mind of enlightenment of bodhicitta, and one is with it, which is the accompanying aspiration. There cannot be two aspirations at the same time. So that's the first point. But later it was said that bodhicitta is a mind that has the two aspirations. That is the mind of enlightenment. But if you said, explore other sources, I have been reading Buddhist Psychology by Geshe Tsultrim, and on page 27 in the book, he says that bodhicitta is the main mind that arises from both these aspirations. He goes on to say when both these mental factors are developed to their highest potential, they become the main mind of bodhicitta. So the question is, does the main mind of bodhicitta have one aspiration or two? Dila Rimbo ina and the dodo do show ina. Dila dumba nitan dimba sem dila chanchugi sen lagirwa. Chezan tadila gyugi dumba tan trogi dumba se di tadila dumba nitan demba se di dunyam la dende chik kwaden da wachin li resa. Chezan gyu demba di tan dengirve dumba chik dengirve emana tsunden di dumba chik yorve tsunden di dumba ni yore kande chinas.
Tsunden la ya dumba chik res. Tsunden la yoba di chokun dumba chanju tengi dumba res. Gyu dumba shendun tengi dumba on. Zewan inji chenpi gyu cheni chanju sen ki on di. Eni gyu dumba ki gyu manyamba. Ani sem teda chok chini yungu yanza dumba nida demba si lago re. Nikan tsunden duyobe chan lago ma res.
The mind of enlightenment is a mind that has the two aspirations. Now, when we say that the mind has the two aspirations, you can then ask, are the two aspirations concordant with the mind of enlightenment, in the sense that do they bear similarities with the mind of enlightenment? Well, at any given time, only one aspiration can be concordant with the mind of enlightenment. At one time, at one given time, only one mental factor or only one aspiration can bear 5 similarities with the main mind. So then how do we then bring those two explanations together? So on one hand, we say that the mind of enlightenment has the two aspirations. On the other hand, we say that at any given time, there could be only one aspiration that bears those 5 similarities with the main mind. Well, we have the causal aspiration. The causal aspiration is great compassion, observing all suffering sentient beings. So this is the support or the assistance of the mind of enlightenment. And when the mind of enlightenment is present or when it has been generated, then that compassion hasn't degenerated. but it doesn't bear those 5 similarities. It doesn't share these 5 similarities together with the main mind that is bodhicitta. The only mental factor that shared those 5 similarities at that time is, the only aspiration is mental factor that shared those 5 similarities is the accompanying aspiration, not the causal aspiration, but accompanying aspiration, focusing on complete enlightenment. 네, 말에 지워드려.
네.
지금 지워 담아?
지금 담아. 전 이해를
말에 그런 지워드리는 냉간 이해를 냉가 찍드는 노트를 가서디 라이오 마레스 라이.
네.
네.
지금 많이 해.
그래. 강아 칼라 많이 기. All right, so there was also another question that was left off yesterday. Maybe I deleted it. Let's see. It was Alan's question.
Kejul kala inchimi nyen gorda sunjul la kala manyen nganzo gi nya yo mare she yo mare ngan sama kejul la te de goras ko petun pesagar la
But Chris asked the first part in Chris's question was saying that that what was that the accompanying aspiration focuses on the mind of enlightenment, and I said it doesn't focus on the mind of enlightenment, it focuses on enlightenment. No, and I said I've said that yesterday. And Geshe said you have to listen to what I say. If you don't listen to what I say, you cannot really take my words as credible words. Anyway, just joking. So, all right, Alan's got a question. All right, so Geshe seems to be saying that pure ethics, which means taking one or more of the 3 levels of vows, is required for a precious human rebirth, but abandoning the 10 non-virtues is not pure ethical discipline. And so if one doesn't take one of the 3 vows, then are they locked out of a precious human rebirth? 죄송하소니마 태조 밀로렘보체 딜라 gyusum shadow ne suni namataqwa so shisha chizandila suni namataqwa se adila matso domba gogi yome de di jolim kyus bissen shadow chizan kina halam domba yogo 그랬는데 소임바 suni namataqwa
수tum yogo res 수tum
네 말이네 그럼 하람 domba 되는 거 그랬는데 직선시
네 대간주 지제 대뒤 가즈나 또 수tum 가즈나 간주 십제 칠 갑들이야 아니 넘버 맨이야 치르비 장송 딘딘 바이네야 아니 원도 하다 미 컴퓨터비 규 아니 수tum 양다고 하지 소에 다 여러와스 라 다들 간주다 다 domba 세디 간주 드위 숑니 셰비기 dombi 체저라 디 시자진 시에는 디 dombo 마레스 양 피기 다 룽아 군주 dombi 차네 dom비기 민저라 디 찬신 디 domba 차고라스
네, the Kurantiwa the Tawa get and Jowa choose the Milurin but Chitawan Yola
델라 지자 수tum 넘버 타바지 고고레스 디 아니 페시 domba 메나 용거에서 말레스 남 드위숑니 셰비 따지 아니 서드 domba 리게보 가야 로완지려야 마테나 메슬란 페시 야그메로스
네, 세상 고란데 튀어 나가는 데 세상 니마 된데 그나 domba 숨나네 카게 말레 와이나 하람 타와 제탄 조와 축케와 된데 연식이 말레스나
메식스
So indeed we did speak of the causes for attaining a human body with freedoms and opportunities. So in our discussion of what pure ethical discipline means, or pure ethics, Geshe did speak about practitioners of other religions guarding ethics, and on that basis attaining a high state of rebirth in a happy state of existence, or a pleasant state of existence. So there are non-Buddhist practitioners that cultivate, for example, states of absorptions, to cultivate concentration. They can, on that basis, attain a high state of rebirth as a human being or as a god. So they can guard ethical discipline in this tradition as a basis for attaining a high status rebirth. And as such, when you think of the meaning of pure ethical discipline in relation to those non-Buddhist practitioners, then this ethical discipline, you can say that is an ethical discipline of restraint, in which they restrain from certain actions. Now, the word for restraining in Tibetan is the same word for vow. So it means that you're restraining your mind, or you're restraining all your behavior. It doesn't mean that you have taken a vow such as the one that we have in the Vinaya. You just restrain from something, and you use that as a basis for attaining a high status rebirth as a human being or as a god. Then the question is, then what is the difference between what is the difference then between a high status rebirth and these freedoms, rebirth with a body with freedoms and opportunities in terms of the causes? Well, in terms of the causes for a precious human rebirth with the 8 freedoms and the 10 opportunities, Geshe reckons that you need to guard pure ethical discipline. And based on what is stated in the Vinaya tradition, then it seems that you need to have one of the vows within the class of the Pratimoksha vows, without which it seems that you will not be able to obtain a rebirth with the 8 freedoms and the 10 opportunities. So then what it then means is that if you base your position on the Vinaya tradition, then it would be hard to accept that without taking one of the vows of personal liberation. It'd be hard to find a rebirth with freedom, with 8 freedoms and the 10 opportunities.
Any cards?
Yandi chiwa shemba di nyama chiwa chadi kam kirgo di dira chezan Quran tanta go bet khum gidosa chanchu gi sem dini la kyaba kari yonas
chanchu sen nganju ani sangi komba드레스 sangi komba드 semgi chanchu semgi karin 되고요스 sangi komba드 되고요라스 sangi komba드 ani 되고요라스 semjen tam지 기체도 sangi komba드 리치 driven 되고 somebody chanchu sem세고레스.
So Chris is then saying he doesn't understand the difference between the mind of enlightenment and enlightenment. So, well, enlightenment is Buddhahood. The mind of enlightenment is a mind that wishes for that. It wishes for Buddhahood. It wants the state of enlightenment. It wishes for enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings.
직 라고서도 디제스다 어다가라 장춥세디 더디간다 같은 게 뭔가 직 슈스다로서 아니 장춥세디 장디 뉴몬바다 시시트비기 직 드버 용수 조발데 장바 다바나 장스 춥슬라운드 직 아니 시진네루 렌제 차신 차비 남자가 써봐 아니 용수 써봐 아니 콘도 쳐봐 투스 쳐봐나 아니 장주세그리 소라 딘자 디스르스나 상기 약지레마도 신수 강야 디 연된도 여마라왔어. 디 연된도 여바이나 아니 심진기 감다 메바 쳇다와 신도 비기기 아니 다 되든 주투여인자 아니 딘디지고 같이 세치니 아니 다 아니 로드 딘디지 깨기어라서
So going back to Chris's question with respect to enlightenment and the mind of enlightenment. Well, the word for enlightenment in Tibetan is chanchu. The first syllable chang means to purify the two sets of obscurations. So afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations have been completely eliminated, completely purified. That's the meaning of the syllable chang. The second syllable is chub, and it means a complete knowledge of reality, not only of reality, also of topics such as karmas, all the in and outs, all the different subtleties of the working of karma and so forth. So there is a thorough and complete knowledge of this topic. So these two come together. On one hand, the total elimination of all obscurations, and the complete knowledge of reality, karma, and so forth, to form the ability to accomplish the welfare of others through knowing their dispositions, so knowing their mentalities, realms, and so forth, and so forth. So if one has those sets of qualities, which means that complete knowledge and also the complete elimination of those obscurations, and one knows the disposition of all sentient beings, then one has the ability to teach them whatever they need. They have the ability to accomplish the welfare.
심전 타다기 동할기 내 좀비 민기 찌교와 이진기 노부 rinchen semki sonum kanyi batela se chidar shaki langde taibi chersında langmares se tsawni se sha mutu ya dindi pe yoba tian pajin chibin dole chanchu semki sonum kan kadetela suchina namkin kamnu kongan ten tevel hakbarin görüyoruz şesonsuz gebalavduda domukobin do tane somba dar Shivar Chao Sunsha.
So I wanted to just push on with the commentary to verse 26. I'll put it on the screen. And it says, if the benefits of the aspiring mind, the wishing mind, are very great, then the benefits of the mind that is qualified by the practice of the perfections is even greater, since it works to achieve the happiness of high status and definite goodness of all migrators. It is the cause for their joy and the precious wish-fulfilling jewel that is the medicinal elixir that destroys the sickness of suffering of all sentient beings. How can one put a measure to the merits of such a mind, since it is infinite? From the sutra requested by Viradatta, the merits of the mind of enlightenment, if they were put into form, all the sphere of space would be filled. It is even more than that. More extensively, one can know from the Companion of Deeds, where it quotes the Array of Stock Sutra.
Di tebani, niba di tebani, pemba samba tsam ki kyang, sangi chule kempana, simjen malu tamji ki, dedun tsamba minchi guz.
Then verse 27 explains the validity of this point. So no, it explains the validity of obtaining benefit from engaging bodhicitta. Looking at this verse, it says, if even the mere intent to benefit is far superior to offerings to the Buddhas, what need is there to mention the striving for the happiness of all sentient beings?
Redadi gondun zo de basamba tsam kyang sondi pemba samba 아니 member sem 개발 잠기 아니 지 산지기 줄 개발도 봐봐 주는 개발도 봐봐 아니 태버 신비기 주차가 열어서 딘디지 임바이나 아니 심제 말루바 탐지기 아니 대화 드베야다 동하세야 된데 아니 좀바 비 접발에 무스슈네 아니 동방 무슬렌치네 아니 샘투스 개바이나 다 델리 페이체 여바디 아니 다 메메르 왔어 샘 개바 잠지기 드링거나 저월 무스슈나 델리짱 슈체 여바다 저당 도당지로다.
Looking at verse 27, it says, if merely a benevolent intention excels venerating the Buddha. So you have just a wish to be of benefit to others. And this just a mere wish to be of benefit to others is said to be so high, so special, so distinct. It says that it is even more special than making offerings to the Buddhas. Then what needs to mention striving to make all beings without exception happy. So if just the wish to be of benefit to others is so highly distinguished, then what need is there to speak about working for their end, working for the sake of making every sentient being happy?
저와디는 조스 탐지 깨비 체도 다 산지 규지 냠비 탐지기 산지 신을 쳐봐 진이 여비 진이 여비 산지 쳐발리 손은 개발 봐봐 땡긴지 잡아도 손나스 그디서 손은 심제 말루바 탐지 길라나메데 대원집이 된도 주반냠는 기초가 같이 뭐 배발라 손은 타이바 뮤직 고소스
Explaining the meaning of verse 27, it says, it is taught in the King of Concentration Sutra that even the mere motivational thought, I shall attain enlightenment to rescue all sentient beings, is more meritorious than making offerings to all the Buddhas found in the billion of Buddha fields. If this is so, then what need is there to mention the infinite merit of striving extensively in the practice to achieve the highest happiness for all sentient beings?
그런데 산지 철이 개방하려다 아니 산지를 쳐봐 먼저 따지 아니 대연 만나는 소비 다 쳐봐 피해줘라 쳐봐 피스가 율 아니 산지 제가 이 신이야 손 빠져봐 아니 걸라보지 싸그레스티 도 땡인지 잡고 이게 공동거래 뒤차고 연자 다 산지를 쳐니 산지를 쳐 법표와 잠지기 인디기 손은 라보지 차고 아니 심전 탐지기 펜디드비 쳐도 아니 산지에 토발이야 아니 무수 슈친 아니 배준지 온디 델레짱 달랍치기로 왔어 디레샤.
So keep in mind that this point is establishing the validity of the benefits of engaging bodhicitta. So it says that, let's look at a certain source. We have the Sutra of Concentration, the King of Concentration Sutra. In the King of Concentration Sutra, the Buddha said that if you just generate the thought to benefit sentient beings, if you think to yourself, I will become a Buddha for the sake of protecting all sentient beings, just that thought is higher, is more distinguished than making offerings to millions of Buddhas. So if you just think of attaining the state of Buddha for the sake of protecting others, and that is said to be far greater than making offerings to millions of Buddhas, what need is there to mention that working on your practice in thinking that through that I will attain the state of a Buddha to be able to benefit others. So not only thinking, but put it into practice would be far greater in its benefit.
다 도바사와들이 다 도바사와디 동가 돈도 세위게 동안이랑 뭐죠 대원되게 디무비 랑이 대와다들 좀
So then a doubt is raised in relation to that in verse 28. So before we look at the doubt, let's look at the wording of verse 28. Though having the wish to destroy suffering, they run directly to suffering alone. Though desiring happiness due to ignorance, they destroy their happiness like an enemy.
다 독바 센시비 독바 저러스 다 독바디 독바디 가르레스 라운디 지당 심자탕지 지 아니 랑레야 랑 마징이지 랑 야와 토르댕인지 요 말와스 랑지 아니 랑든 베데 레야 아니 지 인생 코무유도 지 랑든 위치도 쯩댕이다 망슈지러와스 딘자 아니 소소소기 랑든 랑지체네 랑든 드르고 여자 다 아니 가르치는 딱 아니 콘주기 체도 아니 샘핀지 깨고 그래서 소소소 랑든 드르고도 왔어 랑든 랑지체는 지도 왔어 슬라바이난 러즈라고 도바dir다.
Now, looking at the doubt that Shantideva is formulating here, he says that looking at the way that everyone works on the basis of trying to accomplish their own welfare. They do not relinquish their own welfare, do not give up on their own purpose. If you look at what everyone does, everyone is trying to accomplish their own welfare, their own purpose. Why then, Shantideva is bringing up this doubt, why then do I need to work for their purpose if this is anyway what they're doing?
다 디기 다 변한 간주다 먼저 미나로라 임바이나야 지 미카시기 야 삼반남다 진의 파 로버치가 로바이나 안지 나래 칼신 치고 지 통종 치고도 삼성로 나랑 두야 그가라 저 로버 칼치가 삼성로 딘디기 아니 초알링이 마음보라다 안지 파 로버치와나 지 아니 수수기 아니 넘버도 지 겐고 넘버 통로 위에 소로지다 다 간지 사운드 친줄로도 땅치네 제등이죠 디 아니 오니 임바디 파쇼 말아야 통종 치기야 말에 파이랑 정문 쓰려고 요 말이냐 아니 즉 신이 지금은 통이 지금은 노드로요나 아니 소수 신구요 투구요 반사 아니 파쇼 노드로요나 삼반 남다키 아니 다 로바 치기요로다 어디 소리 숨거다 자세 chanju samba sem kebati rangde rangji chigi yorda inya chi sing mewati kunzu sigi yonza ani sem tu tenji kegyoresro.
So looking at the way that Shantideva addresses this doubt, and again this doubt is why do I need to relinquish my own welfare and work for the sake of others if anyway others are working for their own welfare? They do not relinquish their own purpose. They do try to accomplish their own purpose. So Shantideva answers to that in speaking of the manner in which they try to accomplish their own purpose. So think about it. Suppose that you try to help another person, and the person is looking at you trying to help them and they're getting upset about it. They think that you're looking down on them, that this is not your business to interfere with that, what they're doing. They can well accomplish whatever they set to accomplish by themselves. They don't need your help and they become irritated with you. Now, in that sense, they might think that you're looking down on them, that you think that they are old, that they are incapable of accomplishing certain things, and that gives rise to this irritation in the mind. So in that sense, they could have this erroneous way of thinking. From your side, you don't look down on them. You don't think that they're old, but they still have that impression that in you trying to help them out, that you're looking down on them, you're belittling them, you're thinking that they're old and so forth. So it is their own mistake. And yet from your side, you had that really pure or genuine intention. So similarly, what Shantideva is saying here, that Bodhisattvas with a pure or genuine intent to seek to benefit others, to work for the purpose of others, because they see that although others are trying to accomplish their own purpose, they do not know how to do it. They stumble, they make mistakes. They do not know how to accomplish their own welfare.
다 된다디래다스다. 인자 캐나마에 동거 돈도기 셈 요르다. 셈 슈침부 슈요나양. 그냥 가드이는 동안이는 뭐 유대디 아니 그냥 대화 문제가 말해 되네. 때문이 왕기. 무시비 왕기. 그냥기 랑기 대화 드라나지진 점도도 이제 신금도 마시바 인자 디치다 투기바레스.
So in eliminating the doubt that Shantideva brings up here, he says that, yeah, although everyone tries to accomplish their own purpose, they do not know how to do it. And because they do not know how to do it well, they make mistakes and they run into problems, they run into suffering. So use that as a reason for developing bodhicitta. You develop the mind, you generate the mind in thinking that they do try to accomplish their own welfare, but instead of accomplish that, they get unsought suffering. Shall we leave it here for now?
No. Sorry.
So it seems that you don't know how to accomplish your own welfare. Stay tuned. All right, so I'll put the prayers on the screen. Nyodurba lama sangye jumyone jowa chikyama lopa ti salango warasho rinpoche mati kanan jejochi yewa nyamba mewa done kondo warasho shinkansu pendan dewa malu jungwe chere sima tisi kanso shabe sende bardo tenjuro Chamche jang yawe enzi jombe gonso dozi chozong ko wele manzu nazo duji shakden sho. Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Jen, we'll discuss your question in the afternoon session.